Uh-oh. I didn't have my audio on there. I'm messing up already. Look, my name is Larry Duncan Allen. This is No More Water, Fire Next Time. There was um I was saying the as you know, Don Lemon, well known, used to be with CNN, and now he's a well known podcaster. He him and other black journalists, they went up into a church for a protest against the pastor who's a field office for ICE in the St. Paul area. They went up into the church to call him out. And the woman who started the Black Lives Matters chapter in Minneapolis, she staged it. Don Lemon went into the church with them, and I don't know how many other journalists, but there was 4 black journalists, and 4 journalists got arrested. Guess who? And see, when I first saw that, the first thought came to I'm a journalist. I've covered protests and all that. And the first thing that came to my mind was I wouldn't have went up in there, not up in that church, doing their service and interrupt their service, call out their pastor. You can do that on social media, front them out on social media if you wanted to do that, but I wouldn't have interrupted that church service. I said that when I first saw it. And some people tried to argue with me. I said, well, see it any way you want to. Because I don't argue about this stuff. I state my facts and let that be it. See, I've been in similar situations. When remember the couple that pulled their in St. Louis that pulled their gun on their weapons on the Black Lives Matter protest, which most of them was white. I was about 5 minutes away from capturing that. But what had happened was I think it was for that Stockley unalive, and then they were going to say they was going to they was getting ready to march to the mayor's house. Mayor Lyda Cruzan was the mayor at the time. And what had happened when she wasn't even in office, about 5 years before she was even in office. But they said they was going to the mayor's house to protest, and I said, no, I'm leaving. I left because I don't do that. If you're gonna in my way of thinking, now they can do how they want to. If you're gonna protest the mayor, go to City Hall and protest, not to a private residence. I don't care him or her. I wouldn't go to their private residence. I'd go to City Hall, and it's just certain things I don't do. Now I know I wouldn't have went up inside that church because if you there helping them plan it, and you say I'm going in with you, just like you're a conspirator. And it depends on, how the law wants to see it. You're really treading on shallow ground when you do that. See, even journalists have some responsibilities. And see, I wouldn't, in Minnesota, some black journalists going up there to cover that, but I wouldn't because that's just not ours. I mean, they're up there protesting by the Somalians, but I don't even see many Somalians out there, and they started though. The whole thing was started over them. You see, we have to know what's our fight and what's not. You probably seen the thing with the Black Panthers. They made the guy get out of that Black Panther uniform because they say that he's not the Black Panther Party, and he's talking about he want to fight ICE and all that. Black people don't roll like that. But Huey P. Newton, he was for everybody, all marginalized people. This is not the 1960s anymore. You live, you learn, you evolve. We tried to be in with all other people. They didn't want to be. They let us know. They didn't want to be bothered with us. The Latinos, he said when black people was under Jim Crow, their leaders said black people have to fight their own fight. So they got their own fights to fight. But we got ours. See, now the shoe's on the other foot. Everyone's calling for black people. Why you not calling for these other people? We didn't call for anyone. Some people may have came to help, but we didn't come begging you to help. Matter of fact, black people stopped protesting really after Ferguson. Black Lives Matters was really carried by white people. That's why it got a little bit more violent when they took over, because they see their protest is violence. Like January 6th, that was their protest violence. There's never been a violent black protest. See what they call violent black protest, they come and attack the black people. So I mean the protest was violent. Or some people who not even involved in the protest come and burn, fight, and loot. And then they say it was the protest. The protesters didn't leave the line to go loot. So how's it a violent protest? I remember in Ferguson, the the people the police wouldn't stop the looters and the violence. The protesters had to leave off the line to go stop them because protesters don't like that because they feel it hurts their cause. You don't hurt you by having people out there looting and causing trouble. I mean, it doesn't help the protest any. So so that's why I say, no, anyone came to help us, we appreciate it, but we didn't beg you for it. I thought black people was on the bottom, powerless, can't do anything right. Why are you calling for us then? You superior people? Take care of your own problems. You don't need no inferior people like us coming to help you. At least that's what you've been saying. She told us to handle our own problems, all Latino leaders. And a lot of these black leaders call for black people to go out there, but they're not going out there. Their family's not going out there. Many of the top black podcasters talking about we can't sit this out. Yes, we can, and it's working. If we was out there, you see what would happen. Four black journalists, four black arrests. The only ones. And the black protesters. Well, did you have any Somalians with you? You're doing that for them. See, whenever I covered, see, I told you I covered protests. I don't have problems with the police because I'm not all up in their face with my camera. That's what your camera and your phone got a zoom on it for. You can't get in their way. So you have these people out there with these phones. Everybody think they're a journalist now, but they haven't been trained. I have a Zoom mic. I can pick up stuff from across the street. I'll be over there filming the same thing they up in the people's face with. I'll pick up the audio and the video from across the street. You have enough podcasters, or you notice the people who are experiencing this, who has more than just a phone and more updated equipment. You see, they're never in the way. Many are saying, I'm gonna get off into that where they talking about the like the people who are protesting. I'm not saying they're wrong. It's just not our fight because everyone's against. No one wants illegal people here, but it's not the deportation. People protesting this ICE method because there's always been deportations. So it's the method that they're speaking of because if you look at history, Democratic presidents usually deport more people than Republican presidents do. They say, boy, Biden had the borders wide open. No, he didn't. The president does not set immigration policy. Congress does. Now, I know we got a president doing a lot of stuff now, but the other presidents went by the law. This one don't. And they're finding out those checks and balances are not working so far. Obama deported more people in history. One of his aunts got deported while he was president. Now, now my aunt wouldn't have went nowhere if I was president. But look, the Biden at this time and point in his presidency, he deported many more people than Trump. More people get deported under Democratic presidents than Republican presidents. Look it up for yourself. When I say this stuff, I know what I'm talking about. I just don't say things I don't know what I'm talking about. When I say facts like this, I know what I'm talking about, and you can go look it up for yourself to see the same thing. Republicans just talk a good game. That's it. Trump is really not deporting that many people. They're just putting up a bunch of theatrics. Because their ideal is not deportation. It's to, it's to cause trouble so he can call martial law. That's what he wants to do, to stop the elections. And they thought it would be black people who get out there. That's why they don't know what to do. See, they thought black people, they thought they stopped affirmative action and DEI, which we didn't benefit much from anyway. Mostly white people benefited from that. They thought that black people would get out in the streets and fight with the police and ICE and all that. But it's not working. Black people has been stopped all this protesting. We're thinking of new strategies like boycotts. Still thinking of new strategies. We moved on from that, what they're doing. I wouldn't get out there with you anyway. Tell me you don't want to go back to that country, but you run around with their flag. Well, it's because I have national pride and pride of our culture. Well, why you don't go back to your national pride and culture? If you any black people want to put yourself on the line for these people, that's on you. And when they get you down there in alligator Alcatraz and alligator nipping at your butt, don't come hollering back to more, oh, well, where the people at, where the black folks at, Black Lives Matter, come help me. We tried to tell you that before you get out there doing that. They told some black women that in Philadelphia when all this first started. Don't go out there. It was 8 black women. 1,800 people's out there. 1,800 people. That was in Philadelphia. Only 8 got arrested. Guess who? The 8 black women. So we need to leave that alone. Don Lemon has got, now I'm going to play you what he said. Let me see where is it at. Oh, this when they first went in the church. Listen, watch.
This is the beginning of what's going to happen here. When you violate people's due process, when you pull people off the street and you start dragging them and hurting them and not abiding by the Constitution, when you start doing all of that, people get upset and angry. And if you remember what the Civil Rights Movement was about, the Civil Rights Movement was about these very kinds of protests. There's nothing in the Constitution that tells you what time you can protest. You can protest at any time. That's the whole point of it, is to disrupt. It's to make uncomfortable. And that's what they're doing. And that's what I believe when I say everyone has to be willing to sacrifice something. You have to make people uncomfortable in these times. If you see how uncomfortable people uncomfortably
He's right. The civil rights movement was about protest. But when you go up in private spaces to protest, there's a good chance you may get arrested. And this is not the 1960s anymore. We need better strategies. When Martin Luther King and the civil rights people went up in certain places, they knew they were going to get arrested. They were prepared. They prepared for it. See, the reason I say this is not the 1960s. You take the pastor that they wanted to out for being a part of ICE. They could have outed him on social media, like everybody else out people. We got social media now, where you can get the message out. You didn't have to run up in those people's church. Anytime you go on private, see the thing about it. Now, if I was a person already in the church filming when they came in, that would be different. But if I came in with them, knowing what they was gonna do, most, In a normal times, they probably wouldn't have done anything. But in these times, there's a good chance. And Trump and all them don't like Don Lemon anyway. They've been after him for quite a while. Don't give them ammunition. If you're gonna do anything, I would have interviewed them after they came out of the church, but I wouldn't have went in there. I see when I first saw them going up in there, I said, why did they go up in that church like that? Because I know I wouldn't have done anything like that. And most journalists would. See, that's the thing get me. Don Lemon is a trained journalist. He was at CNN for quite a while. I think he should have known better than that. At least I thought he would have. I can understand some of these old people just got them a little phone and want to be now think they're a reporter. They haven't been trained in this. I thought a trained journalist like Don Lemon would know better than to run up in that church with those people. If you know it's a trained journalist, don't be all up in the police or ICE's face like these other people are. Because they got a rule. We tell you 3 times to move. After that, they're going to arrest you or beat you or something. And the story is not that important to me. I wouldn't be in there. Like I told you, I wouldn't be in their face in the first place. But we got to learn to fight our fight. Our fight. Not everyone else's fight. See, we're unique from everyone else. Let me tell you, all the people, we're not people of color. We have to let people know that. Just like the people of color told us they're not black, we're not people of color. They always told us, oh, we're not black, we're not people of color. I'm sure all the marginalized people, let's not put ourselves in with everyone else. We have a unique story here that's different from all these other people. That's one thing we got to always realize. We can't put ourselves in with these other people. Our story is unique. We're different from these other people. We didn't come across no border. We were brought here. We're more American than white folks. So you know why? People always tell me, go back to Africa. Like we've been there. You'll hear them telling white folks go back to Europe. But if they do, they know where they're from. You know it. People can say, I'm Nigerian American. I'm Haitian American. I'm British American. I'm French, German American, British American. What can we say? All we know is our ancestors came from Africa. That's it. They robbed. They thought they were doing something smart. Robbing us of all that. And I can see now it's going to work in our favor. That's the reason we can't be deported. What country we going to go back to? This was a nation. This wasn't even a nation when we came here. White people immigrated here. Their ancestors immigrated here. We didn't. We are not immigrants. We're the only ones here who are not immigrants. Except for the Indians. Where the Mexicans, part of this used to be theirs, but it's just not theirs anymore. Sometimes greater powers take over things. And you know how it is in this world. Might makes right. You got the might to take it, it's yours. And it's not. I'm not talking about morally right. I'm talking about the ways of this world. So we don't have. We're the only ones who are not immigrants. So we're more American than anyone. So if anybody gonna leave, white folks need to leave and go back to Europe. But they can't. Those white Europeans do not like white Americans. They don't even like them. See, the white people who came here was bums. The worst people of their society. They sent them over here to get rid of them. Our people that they brought here was experts in their agriculture. That's why they brought them here, because they didn't know how to plant. They would all withered away and been gone by now had they not brought those African slaves over. They were experts in metallurgy, the smelt of iron. That's why they had to build all the houses, got them out those log houses. And so building houses with iron. That's why they had to build the plantations. I mean, if the plantation owner already had a nice big mansion plantation, why did the slaves have to build him one? They were living in log houses. They were experts. That's why they brought them here. So we have more claim to this land actually than they do. But they got the might, and which seems to be leaving them now. They're in a decline. They saw it ever since Obama became president. They're trying to stop the browning of the United States. But the reason I say it's not our fight, I mean, even the imperialists, which is the United States, and the colonialists, which is Europe, they're almost ready to fight each other. They're almost ready to get it on. I didn't say, I don't want to see no black people get hurt. Other than that, I don't care what they do. They've hurt each other all around the world. Now they're about to get hurt. I'm gonna play another video in my headset. Here it is. This is Don Lemon when he got out.
I have spent my entire career covering the news. I will not stop now. In fact, there is no more important time than right now, this very moment, for a free and independent media that shines a light on the truth and holds those in power accountable. Again, I will not stop now. I will not stop ever. Last night, the DOJ sent a team of federal agents to arrest me in the middle of the night for something that I've been doing for the last 30 years, and that is covering the news. The First Amendment of the Constitution protects that work for me and for countless of other journalists who do what I do. I stand with all of them, and I will not be silenced. I look forward to my day in court. Thank you all.
Well, Don, you don't have to stop. You just have to watch how you do it. Can't be running up in these churches, man, and don't expect any repercussions. Don't fight the church at that. You have to realize we don't have those same rule of laws we used to have. And I'm not gonna test them. I know we should have the right, certain rights, but I'm not putting all this stuff through the test. I'm not getting my head busted for these immigrants. As a matter of fact, I don't even want to get my head busted for me, let alone for somebody else. So we have to be very careful. Because people will put us in their fight and then leave us there to do all the fighting. So that's what they're used to. They're doing everything they can to get black people ticked off and come out there in the streets. Leave this stuff alone. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Africans, Europeans, whoever. It don't make any difference who it is. We need to stay out of this mess. It's not our mess. Let people fight their own mess. I tell you, why it's not ours? What about him? Keith Porter Jr. You hear any of them mention his name fighting for him? I saw a video put together of all the people who were unalived by ICE. He was unalived the week before that woman in Minnesota. And I say that woman and that man because I'm not saying their name. I say their name is for us. And you know what? They left him off the video. Everyone was on the video except for him. Too much Jasmine Crockett crying. Like, Jasmine, I got a lot of respect for her. I like her. I got a lot of respect for her. I even got pictures with her. And she's crying. The little girl lost her mother, but never mentioned him. Quit confronting those agents as individuals. If you're part of a protest, do the protest. Quit running up to them as individuals. At least in the protest, you can run. I hope you outrun the other people. But they're running up after those people individually. Have you ever noticed any black protests? We wasn't out there calling them, talking about their family, their kids, calling them all kind of names, confronting the police individually. Did it as a group. That's why we can't protest with them. They don't know how to do it. They used to seeing other people do it. And they sit at home and laugh at you. But that's what they did. See, we're seasoned in that. I mean, rather than this. But see, what happened is, you're talking about how Cory Booker, what's it, no, Hakeem Jeffrey, he's so weak to me. They going talking about the ones who voted for the ICE funding. We want them to just get more training. Don't he realize that ICE is doing what they were trained to do? They were trained to go out there and do that to those people. They were trained to do it. But the difference with black people, when they've been unaliving black people and lying about it and getting away with it, just think what happened before there was cameras. Back in the 1900s, 20s, 30s, all the stuff they did to black people and got away with it. If they can still get away with it today. The difference with us, it wasn't by untrained ICE agents. But this was happening to black people by trained city policemen. So what's the excuse? See, people can't bring stuff to us to about how bad they got it. All you can tell them is add race to it, and it's 10 times as worse. Anytime white people come to me or anybody talking about what they've been through, I say add being black to it. Oh, there you go with the race card. Say you was talking about your people. Quit putting the card in the deck. And they can bring up race when they're talking to us, but when we bring it up, we play the race card. I'll play the card I want to if you got it in the deck. If it's in the deck, I'll play it. You played it. You put it there. But look, we have to fight our fight. No one else is gonna fight for us. See, they say, oh, everybody, you know what everybody's yelling about now? We was there for Black Lives Matter. Everybody and his daddy was there for Black Lives Matter. Matter of fact, black people wasn't there, not in numbers. When they ran to the police station in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, and ran the police out the back, those weren't black people. The black people couldn't have done that. It'd been black bodies all over those steps. When they burned down that 7-Eleven over there in St. Louis, that wasn't black people. Because black people knew that was a staple in the community. They wouldn't have burnt that down. A lot of them was angry about that. What they burned down the 7-Eleven for? You know that one over there, what's that, 10th Street or whatever? Over there by the main post office in St. Louis? That was the 7-Eleven everybody went to. Now, I was over there. I even went there. And then they're going to come and burn it down. And there's nothing there but an empty lot. When Kyle Rittenhouse, who brought a gun, who brought a weapon to a march that he had nothing to do with, when he unalived those two men, they were white men. And after he shot him, he walked right by the police with the gun, knowing they had heard a gunshot. When he was coming, they told him, glad to see you here, which they should have been fired because a policeman is not supposed to take sides like that. Why did they think he was coming with an AR-15? 17 years old. But see, that's why I say we know how to do this. They don't. They'll get some of us unalived out there messing with them. We got to stay out of their mess and do things our way. We're thinking of new strategies. We're not holding on to those old ways. They're just not working anymore. I want you, I want you to see this about the sundown town. Watch this. I thought this was funny. My ancestors built this country. Incest. It's about fitting incest. My ancestors built this country. You ain't done nothing. You didn't build nothing. You had slaves to do all the hard work, and you supervise it. Even to this day, they just mostly supervise hard work. They don't do it unless they got a lot of machinery to help them. Then black people had to do the building. You was too lazy to do that. It was time to build the railroad. You wouldn't get the Chinese to build the railroad. You was too lazy to do that. Most of the inventions made by other people, not you. A lot of them, large share of it by black people. You're too lazy to invent. Try to act like Albert Einstein was the master inventor. But you don't read nothing about all those black inventors. When was time to the only time you start doing some construction was when they made machinery to help you mostly on the machines and had black people. Now you got the Latinos to do the hard work. So when did you do some hard work? That's why I say they ruin everything. They give us inferior education. I remember when I was a little boy in school, and I used to notice in our textbooks those old cars in it. I mean, old cars. And if I was a little kid, and I knows I'm talking about second, third grade. I knows those old, how old the cars was. But you know what I later found out? They took, they gave the new textbook to the white schools, brought the old textbook to the obsolete textbook to the black schools. So black children was learning an obsolete curriculum. Then they wonder why we weren't testing at certain levels. They there were black people kids who would get all A's in high school, go to college and have to take remedial classes because they got all A's, but it was an inferior curriculum. Oh, they had it all staged. And you're gonna go out there and fight for all these different people, as long as they're not foundational black Americans, the ones whose ancestors came over on slave ships. I'm not thinking about you. Because even the Africans said they thought we were, they thought we were immigrants. People have said they went to Africans and asked them what country they're from. They would tell them what country they was from in Africa. Then they asked them, which one are you from? They say, I'm from, the black people person would say, I'm from here. No, but which country are you from in Africa? Do you know that most Africans didn't even know about the slave trade? They didn't even teach their own people that. That just shows how much they cared about us. Didn't come to try to see about us, send somebody to see about us or anything. You let the Africans that went down there and took some British folks. They have all kind of them old sail ships surrounding the shores of Africa. And see so they said they thought we was gonna be the thugs and gang. See, they were taught that we were thugs and gangsters and lazy. So they thought we was gonna be the ones deported. Now they did that to vote for Trump to get us deported, and now think we're gonna come help them. Oh, you outside is one Latino one. Am I looking at? Yeah, they stopped the civil rights bill, but it's not what she think. We still have I thought that, but we still have a civil rights bill. But you know what? She was so happy and gleeful because she thought something was happening to hurt us. That's what she thought. Why would we want to be bothered with some people like that? So I lived around Hispanics, all kind of people. I'm keep telling you this in Los Angeles. They hated black people. They hated us and still hate us to this day. Those people out there, see, black people had this idea. These other people come over here, we will all join in together and act as one. But they so tribal. They come over here and want to just stick with their clan. Now they've learned tribalism don't work here. Because you know why? You may see yourself as Nigerian, Somalian, Haitian, Jamaican, but these white folks who run this, they see a black person. We tried to tell them that. Now they've learned. Over here, you black. You're not Somalian over here, you black. Now you're not Ethiopian or South African over here. You are black. They don't care what tribe you came from or what nation you came from. They see a black person. The only thing your ethnicity and nationality is doing for you right now is letting them know who to get up out of here. It's working against you now. You say we in Somalia, we drive nice cars, Latino man. You must be have your eyes closed or something because you don't see all those nice cars black people drive. See, Somalians was all condensed. We spread out. Black people drive all type of cars more than any other group because there's more of us. So of course it's gonna be more unfortunate people because there's more of us. It's gonna be more people with wealth than you because there's more of us. Black people are not broke. I just they had these immigrants coming here stealing our money. Not stealing it, but the money don't change hands. So it don't do us any good having immigrants here. We need them gone. ASAP. I know there's white immigrants that's not leaving, but we can't solve every problem. I tell you, a lot of white people getting up out of here. You said they tell me they want people from Norway to come. Did you see them coming? White people over there don't like the United States. They do not like the white people here. They thought it was the black people. They don't even like the white people here. Do you see them immigrating here? They've been given the invitation. They said no, thank you. They brought some white South Africans here. Had to give them all type of incentives to come. They says they're having it so bad over there about, and they own just about everything. And then tell me they have it so bad. They just 1/8 of the population, and they brought if they're having it so bad, only 59 came. No more has come since then. I've been told some of those went back. I don't know for sure, but I was told that I have to check and see. Those people don't. White folks don't want to come here. And so I'm gonna show you just how people are. See, they still this see all that ICE is doing that was meant for black people to come out and protest, and they can make a big deal out of it with us. And a lot of people haven't realized yet. Oh snap! These not black people out here. They're treating the white people the way they would have treated the black people. If they're treating white people like that, what makes you think you should go out there? They're dragging pregnant white women in the streets. The man that got pew pew, he was a woman they was beating, Mason, and he went to help her. Oh, by the way, they showed a video of him about it. We see He had some broken ribs when they pew-pewed him because they had broke his ribs a week earlier. Well, fractured his ribs a week earlier. He had gotten in an altercation with him before. Now they're thinking he may have been targeted. Been targeted because they knew who he was. They're using electronic warfare, AI, against you. They're scanning people's faces with their phones, then going to their social media accounts. So they know who's out there. Making sure won't see mine. Even if I was in Minnesota. You gotta be careful because they really they're really out to get black people, but we're just not giving them the avenue by which to do it. But you see every time a black person do go out and do something, what happens? They catch the worst of it. Like these journalists, what did they do? Catch the worst of it. Tried to tell them. They wouldn't listen. I wouldn't go all the way to Minnesota to record that. I'd barely go across the river to do it. And see the thing about if you're gonna protest ICE, protest them. Because people, like I said, they're not protesting deportation. A Democratic president deport more people than Republican presidents anyway. Trump is really not deporting that many people. He's just putting up a lot of theatrics. That's why you have a film crew. ICE have a film crew with them. And when there's nothing going on, while the people walking away, they throw tear gas in them so the people can disperse and they film it like as though there's some riot or something going on. Yeah, he's not deporting that many people. What happened to the thugs and the gangsters? We could have told them about that. How many times they send county sheriffs, state police in and say, we're coming after the gangbangers and the drug dealers, and then they come in and bother everyone except the gangbangers and drug dealers. And they know who they are. They'll walk right by them to come at you and me. People on their way home from work. Going after people because of expired tags, you're supposed to be there for the gangsters and drug dealers. Oh, we're gonna pass this crime bill because we're gonna go after all the criminals. Went after everyone except the criminals. Bobbing middle-aged men on their way home from work, like they're in a gang. Well, they may have thought they got some old white men being in the gang. You see that gangsters, long gray beards, on a motorcycle in a gang. Granddaddy and great granddaddy in a gang. Isn't that something? Yeah, see, when they have those get tough tactics, they usually go after everyone except the people they say they come from. We could have told them that during the when they during the in New York when they were doing the stop and frisk. They stopped and frisk, like I said, middle-aged men on their home from work like they gangbangers. Gangbanger walk right on by, look over there while he's frisking the old man. See, and they do this to get a lot of black people in prison. Because see, when you're in prison, they can't put you to slave labor. Slavery is not really open. It does say, except for those incarcerated, they can be used for slave labor. See, there used to be a time doing back in the see, black women had to work. White men always say, I don't want to be embarrassed by my white wife working. That's why I don't see why black women got on charge of feminism. That's a white woman thing. It's a white man oppressing them. Then the black men started making more money, and a lot of black women were staying home. They didn't want black women staying home, so they passed what they call the suffrage law, where any black person who wasn't working could be picked up under the vagrancy law and sent to prison because they weren't employed. Excuse me. So black people used to this. Let me take a break right quick. Okay, I'm back. So we had to work. That's why black women always work. They had to. White women sitting at home. They hated when they saw the black woman sitting at home and passed that law. There's nothing anyone can go through in this nation where black people haven't went through worse. And for 400 years, not just for a year. I showed you yesterday with a Latino man talking about, I thought black people was just making that up and not complying with the police. Now they after me and mine. And then they start putting brown. I thought you said black people. You brown. Why come they wasn't going after you in the first place? Said you thought you was honorary whites. You were until you had put Obama in. They've been after you ever since, trying to stop the browning of the United States. Now you all used to vote Republican all the time. You slipped up and voted for Obama that time. Now you're going back to your old ways. Too late though. They own you now. And you're gonna have to help yourselves. Any black people person want to get out there to help them can do so because we can't make you. You have to go by your own conviction. And that's your prerogative. But when something bad happens, no need of coming back, looking back this way crying. You know what they did to me, yeah? Yeah, because we told you. And yeah, I hope Don Lemon and the rest of these journalists learned that you don't have the privilege the others have. I know that. And I thought Don Lemon would know that. He's a seasoned journalist. Well, I have to get ready to go. I have to go to a friend of mine's mother-in-law funeral in the morning. Yeah. So I'm looking up at the clock. So I think I'm gonna call it a night. But remember him, Keith Porter. Say his name. They're mentioning everyone except him. So that's why you see I say that man and that woman in Minnesota. I don't mention their names. I mention Keith Porter Jr. May he rest in peace. Okay, that's gonna. I'm gonna have to call it in for a night. I guess get up early in the morning. So well, thank you for tuning in to No More Water. Bye next time. My name is Larry Duncan. Now, good night.